How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got another automotive news video, but today we're going to be talking about the next generation of the Ford Mustang. Now this is going to be a little bit different than most of my automotive news videos because this is more of a kind of concept video where we don't really know a lot of things about this new generation of the Mustang. Now on January 18th, spy photos were actually released of this next generation Mustang, the S650, which a lot of people are calling it. So considering the fact that, you know, it's late March when I'm actually making this video, I'm definitely a little bit late when it comes to these photos, but I'm also going to just kind of throw in my opinions and what I believe Ford is going to do for this next generation Mustang. It should also be a shorter video compared to some of my other videos. Let me know what you guys think about these spy photos and what you think the new Mustang is going to actually bring to the table down in the comments below. Also, if you haven't already, definitely be sure to subscribe and like this video because as a smaller YouTuber, it definitely helps me out a lot. But anyways, getting into this article put out by Ford Authority, and all of the pictures you can see here have the Ford Authority kind of watermark on them, so I'm assuming someone that works with them actually got these spy photos. But the 2024 Mustang GT prototype has been spied for the first time. Now there's no video footage that I've been able to see on the internet, and as you guys can see, Ford did a fantastic job of camouflaging this car. A lot of times, more recently with the Chevy C8 Z06 Corvette, the Chevy didn't really do that good of a job camouflaging it. You saw like the wider rear fenders, or the wider rear quarter panels, I should say. You saw the quad tip exhaust, whereas Ford has really covered up this Mustang really well. And you can see in the back here, there's almost like a little bump. I don't know if that's actually going to be the body line. If it is, that's definitely a little bit different than the 6th generation. But overall, the proportions look very similar and the rear looks very similar as well. One thing though about this design, you can see two kind of side intakes in the front here. But overall, again, Ford is using multiple layers of camouflage on this car, and you're really not seeing much. The wheels definitely look different compared to any late model or later generation of Mustang wheels that I've seen before. They don't really look like anything I've seen on a 6th, 5th, or 4th gen Mustang just right from the factory. So there's definitely going to be new wheel designs thrown in the mix. And moving down to the rear, you can see that although from the side the proportions look very similar and the rear looks very similar from that side angle, there's something definitely off about this rear. And honestly, I don't know what it is or what it could be. I think it's definitely going to be a little bit more circular, maybe a little bit more oval, kind of getting some inspiration from the SN95, the 4th gen Mustang, and that kind of like melted cheese era of late 90s, early 2000s domestic cars. But definitely doesn't look as angular as that 6th gen rear. Hopefully we still get the iconic tri taillights, the you know, 3 lines on each side. I know that we pretty much had that since the Fox body, so I think that's almost a guarantee. I also think that the headlights aren't going to change that much as well, just looking at the front here. I think maybe a little bit more angled, maybe a little bit something like a mix of a Mustang Mach-E front end with the regular kind of Mustang front end. And also straight on right here, I know I might get some hate for this, but it almost looks like a Dodge Charger. Like just the overall silhouette, it looks a little bit more like higher up, I guess, than the 6th generation Mustang. So it might be interesting if they actually raise it a little bit. Again, from the side, the proportions look very, very similar, but this camouflage is doing a fantastic job of actually just covering up all the little details of the body that Ford wants to actually see. So now talking about the drivetrain. With the 6th generation Mustang GTs, we saw the utilization of both the 2nd as well as the 3rd gen Coyote 5.0 liter engines. Now with this one, with the Mustang GT, I believe with this new S650 or 7th gen Mustang GT, I still believe that they're going to come in a V8. I really hope they are, and I don't think that Ford is going to phase that out just yet, and I hope they never do, to be honest with you. But I do think that they're going to stick with a 5-liter displacement engine. Now, here comes the kind of controversial opinion that I have. I do think that there's a large possibility that Ford may actually move on from the Coyote platform. Now, that being said, it's just as possible that they introduce a 4th generation Coyote engine that pushes out even more power, or is maybe a little bit more fuel efficient, as you know, fuel prices are ridiculous, at least right now in America. I also would not be surprised if we were to see the EcoBoost make a return. I don't obviously see the V6 coming back anytime soon, or even at all, because the EcoBoost makes more power and it's a lot more fuel efficient, and it's just a better overall rental car, commuter car. So I think it's still going to be a Mustang GT and a EcoBoost. Now, also with Ford splitting up and going into the Ford Blue and the Ford Mach-E, or Model E, I should say, divisions, there very well may be a possibility that they introduce an electric Mustang that isn't the Ford Mustang Mach-E. Now, I do say this because it's very clear that most people already realize that the Ford Mustang Mach-E isn't really a Mustang. I mean, it's not only all, you know, fully electric, but it's an SUV, and it's the first production Mustang SUV Ford has ever created. So a lot of them just slapping on a Mustang badge was kind of having to do with marketing and people that want to, I guess, go green, saying that they have a Mustang and they have a, you know, performance SUV too. But it would be interesting to see if, you know, the Model E division of Ford again makes an actual Mustang car and kind of makes a fully EV version, or even experiments with some hybrid technology. That would be pretty cool to see. I'd be completely fine with that, even though I know a lot of people might hate it. A lot of car enthusiasts might hate it. I would personally be fine with that as long as they kept the, you know, naturally aspirated V8 in the Mustang GT and didn't mess with anything or tweak anything when it comes to the Mustang GT or the EcoBoost. And I would only say that I'd be fine with that because that would kind of be opening the market for the Mustang, because I mean, the Mustang is something that's sold worldwide. In my own opinion, I feel like the more trims or the more models or, you know, different variations that are available, I think the better it's going to sell. I mean, that's something that's very evident in the 3rd generation, the Fox body Mustang, when Ford just introduced so many different trims out there. Now, for the next part of this video, I want to take a short look at 3 renders of the 7th generation Mustang that I literally just got off of Google Images. I'm pretty sure everyone that made these has their watermark on the images, so if you want to support them, just go check out their channels or whatever. So this first one is the 2023 Mustang 7, rendered by, I think, Modern Muscle Cars, it says down there. But you could see a little bit more open grille. It doesn't have those side intakes. I definitely think from those spy photos it's going to have side intakes, and a more kind of Mach-E inspired headlight design right there, with again the overall dimensions from the S650 carrying over into this newer or this new 7th generation. Now, this one out of the 3, I'd have to say is probably what I think it's going to look like the most, except this part right here. Now, yes, if it's fully electric, that's probably how it's going to look, or if there's a fully electric variation of the actual Mustang and it's not an SUV, I think that's how it's going to look, and look very similar to the Mustang Mach-E. But obviously, if I think it's going to be the regular internal combustion engine variation, which we do see here because you can tell by the exhaust, I think there obviously is going to have to be a grille there, just for obvious cooling reasons. Now, this is a little bit more of a radical render. I don't see this rear end being that angled, although I do think it's going to be a little bit more circular and not as straight as it is in the 6th generation. And also in the front here, you kind of get some design inspiration from the 2020 GT500s in the 6th generation lineup of the Mustang. But I don't think that that's how that front's going to look, and I don't really think how that rear is going to look. Now, I kind of wanted to just include this render into the video because this may be something more similar to a Shelby 7th generation Mustang design in the kind of far future, or at least a few years down the road, depending upon when this 7th generation Mustang actually, you know, hits the scene. But let me know what you guys think of not only these 3 renders, but these spy pics brought to us by FordAuthority.com. Like always, I will leave the link to those spy photos / article down in the description below. So definitely go check that out if you want to read the article a little bit more in depth. I know we didn't really talk about the article that much in this video at all. Again, like I said in the beginning of the video, definitely be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below what you guys are expecting from this new generation of the Mustang. And like always, thank you guys so much for all the support, and I'll see you in the next one.